Hey all, Silver Keys here. SHERIEWARD challenged me to the 40 question challenge, so I took her up on it, and here goes nothing. Question number 1, do you like ketchup on your hot dogs? Well, I don't eat sugar, and ketchup generally has sugar in it, so unless it's homemade, no. Choice of soda, again, no sugar, no soda. Do you own a gun? Question 3. Yes, absolutely. Question 4, can you swim? Yes, I swim like a fish, I float like a cork. I probably learned to swim when I was in kindergarten, first grade. We were swimming in the creek and just never quit. Hot dogs or cheeseburgers? Well, unless the dogs are brats and they're cooked on the grill or the campfire, definitely cheeseburger. Favorite type of food? Well, Friday is my birthday, and the kids are coming out on Saturday, and we're going to have elk steaks and herb lemon shrimp. Our future son-in-law is bringing smoked rainbow trout that we caught this winter, and our son and daughter-in-law are bringing deviled eggs, and I'm going to make a chocolate mocha cheesecake with a orange chocolate ganache for dessert. So pretty much any of those would top my list. Do you believe in ghosts? Question 7. Anything is possible. I do not have all the answers. Question 8. What do you drink in the mornings? Whatever my hubby fixes me. I cannot have caffeine, so I do a lot of herbal tea or decaf coffee. Question 9. Can you do 100 push-ups? Absolutely. I can do 5 today and 5 tomorrow and 5 the next day. I don't see a time limit on this. Number 10, favorite time of year. I would have to say it's whatever time of year we're in. I have had 2 strokes, one in June of 2013 and one 2 years ago. The first one was a bad one, and I have learned to just really appreciate whatever time we're in. Every day is good. Your favorite hobby? Well, I have several. Let's walk over here. And I have a couple. I crochet. So here's one project I'm working on. This will eventually be either a queen or king size bed cover. And here's another one. I have an MFA in creative writing, and my first one, put a damper on that for a while. But I do like to write, and this is a book that's dear to my heart. I helped bring this to fruition. It's by my really good friend Greg Smith. I didn't write this book, but I helped in the writing process, and I was part of the editing process and getting it self-published. And it's a fantastic book. I call it a hobby because I don't get paid for this. I didn't get paid for it. I do have some things out there that I've gotten paid for, but not since my stroke. So until I can get back to that point, I do it for enjoyment and to keep my hand in it, I guess. I'm also a voracious reader. I'll read almost any genre. I don't particularly care for horror, mysteries, but pretty much anything else goes. I like to cook, and I would say fishing, but fishing isn't really a hobby, it's more like life. Tattoos is question number 12, and I am definitely in favor of tattoos. Yes. Yes, I have tattoos, and no, I don't have enough. Do you wear glasses? Yes, there's my glasses. And yes, they have a chip. Next year I'll get a new pair, I hope. Do you have a phobia? Yeah, I guess. So one of the results of my first stroke was a loss of the ability to write. Not physically, but the brain to have the hand do the writing. It's hard to explain, but so handwriting itself is very difficult for me. I can type, but I generally stress a lot when I know I'm going to have to write something, like especially on the spot, maybe a check in the checkout line. I usually try to pre-fill out a checkout before a check before I go to a checkout, so I'm not stuck in line trying to fill it out. Handwriting cards is very difficult for me, so I try not to procrastinate, but I tend to, and then when I sit down to do them, I just do them. It's a very laborious process for me, so I do stress about it a lot. So there you go. Question 15, do you have a nickname? Well, my kids call me Mom. My husband calls me Hun. Silver Keys is my YouTube name, so I guess I do. Question 16, 3 favorite drinks. Well, I can't drink alcohol anymore. I was never much of a drinker to begin with, but I had discovered Bud Light Cheladas, and I really liked them, and I do miss them. I do miss having a Bud Light now and again. Next one would be, when I was a kid growing up, we had an older gentleman that lived near us. He lived in a cabin, and he had a well, and he drew his water in a bucket, and we'd come home from school on our bikes, and we'd stop in, and we'd always draw him a bucket of water, and he had a cup on a hook there, and there was just nothing like the taste of that cold water coming straight out of that well. It was sweet and cold and awesome. And the third one would be when we had milk cows, you'd skim that cream off the milk and then stir in what you didn't skim off, and then pour yourself a big tall glass of that cold milk, especially on a hot day. That's pretty good stuff right there. Question 17, do you like blue cheese? Yuck, that would be a firm no. Rain or snow? Well, right now, let me take you outside here. Right now we're getting, we've just had several days of rain, and they're predicting snow for us now the next 4 days. But there's just nothing like a good fresh rain. Here we go. And the mountains are clouded over. But when we were first married, the husband and I lived in cow camp for 2 years. No water, no electricity. We were right up on the Montana-Idaho border. And we'd get up early in the morning, get on the horses and ride up into the timber so that we could come out into a clear cut right at daylight. And if it had rained in the night, especially, and we'd come out in that right at the edge of the timber, and we'd stop and wait for the sun to come up, there's just nothing like the smell of that fresh, sweet rain in the timber, and the sun had come up and it'd hit those pines and they'd start warming up. You could smell those pine trees, and boy, oh boy, that's pretty luscious stuff right there. But I also like I also like the snow. I love that first snow in the fall. That the way everything gets quiet. You can stand outside and just hear the silence. And it's like the earth is just taking a big deep breath, getting ready for winter and to go to sleep. Pretty sweet. Question 19. Can you change a tire? Yes. Can't guarantee I'll get the lug nuts loose if they've been put on with an air wrench. Even with a cheater bar, but I'll do my darndest. I grew up on a ranch, and I can change a transmission, I can change an engine, I can rebuild a carburetor. A tire isn't much. Favorite flower? So we're going to walk out here. These are flowers the kids got me for Mother's Day. So those are pretty special. I'll take you over here. I should say that it's just pretty much any flower that somebody gives me. Right over there in the corner behind the tree up against the fence is a rose bush that my husband planted for me. He'd inadvertently dug a bit of it up out working one day, and he brought it home and planted it there in the corner for me, and it's just flourished. And I like it just because he did that for me. And then out here, we don't mow our lawn until well into June because we get so many wildflowers. And here's some of them right here. See if we can get you a close look up. Those are little orchids that just come up. They're native here. And I do love those. But probably the shooting stars that come up here in the yard will just be filled with them. And if you haven't seen them before, go Google it. A shooting star. They're pretty awesome. And right there with that would be this field here and the field across the way. Here in a month and a half will be filled with camas blossoms, and they're a light blue flower on a tall stalk, and it'll really look like a lake of blue out there. It'll just be gorgeous. Stand here out of the breeze. Question 21. Can you drive a stick? Absolutely. I grew up on a ranch. First time I drove, I was 8. We were fencing, and I couldn't drive the tractor with the post pounder on it because I couldn't push the clutch in all the way because I couldn't reach it, so I had to drive the truck back so we could get both vehicles back. And we were in the hayfield by the time we were 12 driving tractors. I didn't actually drive an automatic until I was in driver's ed in high school so that I could get my license. And I kept slamming the floor looking for the clutch, and the driver's ed instructor laughed at me because he knew my background, knew I was off a ranch, and he said, it was basically a formality. Anyway, question 22. Ever been skydiving? No. I would love to go skydiving. I am a little bit of a speed junkie, a little bit of a thrill seeker, less so now since my strokes. I would love to go skydiving, but I know I can't. My brain would absolutely not handle the changes. I'm really sensitive to barometric pressure, but my first stroke was a hemorrhagic stroke, so I would avoid anything that would cause some changes there, and the doctors would probably kill me. Question 23, kids. Yes, I am in favor of kids. We have a few. We have two of our own, and then we've had several that we consider our own that lived with us through the years. So we never know what to call them because we weren't able to officially adopt them, but they're ours. Favorite color? My husband's eyes, blue. Nature. Nature is my favorite color. The green of the grass, the blue of the mountains over there, the sunset, the white on the peaks over there. Those are my favorite colors. Employed. Yes. I have been employed my whole life, worked hard my whole life. I worked at the university for 12 years. I wrote a grant to obtain money to serve students who were first generation, low income, or had disabilities to help them navigate college and successfully graduate. I worked for the National Park Service. I've been a janitor. I have my wastewater operator's certification. But my stroke, pretty much, I lost my job, lost my benefits. It wiped out our retirement. I'm not able to drive fully yet. I have strict parameters. I can't drive on bad roads, no bad weather, no nighttime, no more than 30 minutes a day. And you can see we live next to nowhere. So my ability to go anywhere and work outside of home is pretty nil. So having said that, I do have a job. I babysit. Our closest neighbors 4 miles up the road have a 9-month-old. And Mom is one of the 2 teachers in our little 2-room schoolhouse here, and so she leaves the most precious little person in the world with me, and I get to watch her every day. School's out now, so but that's my job. I don't get paid big money for it. I don't care. It's a real pleasure to just have her. She's a dream baby. I had to come in because, goodness, it was chilly out there. Gonna get snow the next few days. Next question. Can you whistle? Yes. My understanding is you just put your lips together and blow. And if you don't know what that's from, go Google it. Favorite vacation? Question 27. I've had 4 vacations. When my husband and I got married 35 years ago in July, we went to Glacier and camped and hiked, and that was pretty awesome for 2 weeks. When our kids were little, we took them to Yellowstone for a weekend and kind of did the tourist thing around, all the tourist spots. That was memorable. When I graduated from grad school, 2 of the kids went with the husband and I, and we drove 1,800 miles in 5 days out to Port Townsend, Washington, where the graduation was taking place. And it was 5 days of laughter and stories and fun. That was pretty awesome. And then 2 years ago, our son and daughter-in-law invited us along on a fishing trip, camping, sensing a theme here. And we caught such a variety of fish. I've only ever fished locally here for little brook trouts and rainbows. And that trip we fished for bass and perch and walleye and sturgeon and pike and paddlefish. And it was 8 days of total awesomeness. Of course, we don't have cell service here where we live anyways, but there where we were camping, no cell service, no anything. It was just real bliss. Number 28, siblings. Yes, I am the youngest. My oldest sister was born handicapped with some severe birth defects, and she's very special. She's deaf. She has some major facial deformities. Her fingers and toes were fused, and anyways, she is the heart of the family. She really is. She's my favorite sibling, and I think she kind of set me up for being the way that I am now, and some of the characteristics that I have. Anyways, question 29. Any surgeries? Yes. Appendicitis, gallbladder, hysterectomy, carpal tunnel, a couple brain surgeries. I'm going to do a face reveal here. Face reveal. Here we are. There's my face. Upper lower jaw. I have 6 plates and 29 screws. So there's that. Shower or bath? Question 30. Shower. Definitely shower. 31. Last song that you listened to. We are music whores. Anything goes. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, so, the classic rock. We listened to Dr. Demento on Sunday Night Radio with Weird Al, and Kiss, of course, was popular, and Black Sabbath and AC/DC, and, the classic rock, REO Speedwagon and BTO, and later on Twisted Sister, and but my grandfather played anything with strings, and he was a real traditionalist. He sounded just like Johnny Cash. He played a lot of Johnny Cash and the classic country, the Outlaws, Waylon and Willie. My dad was a classical music fan, as well as he liked Helen Reddy, anything with strings, classical music with strings. When my husband and I married, at that time he was a concert level pianist, and he introduced me to a much wider variety of classical music. And so on our iPod is anything from Vivaldi, The Four Seasons, I love the spring, to Pink, to Kid Rock, to Brett Eldredge, to Kip Moore, to Taylor Swift, to Chris Stapleton and the Justin Timberlake Tennessee Whiskey song. More recently, I'm into the Teskey Brothers. They are an Australian jazz blues band. Etta James is a favorite. Like I said, just any music. Broken bones. Well, the finger there, and then of course there's the face thing. So yes. How many TVs are in your house? 1. We don't have cable or satellite, so just 1. And if we watch something, it'll be a movie of some sort real quick. That's it. Question 34. Worst pain. I've had kids, natural childbirth. That was probably a 6. This face thing was probably a 7, and that stroke I would rate a solid 10. That first stroke. It was more than 6 hours of wishing my head would blow up. It was because maybe it would relieve the pain. Yeah, I don't want to do that again. Question 35. Do you like to sing? Of course. Yes, absolutely. Not saying I do it well, but I like to do it. Question 36. Is your mother still alive? No, my mother passed away 3.5 weeks ago. Question 37, 3 things you did today. I hugged my husband, I loved on my dog, and I did a load of laundry because a girl's got to have clean underwear. And I think those are probably the 3 most important things in life. The spouse, the dog, clean underwear. Yeah. What do you like to watch on TV? Again, we don't get TV, so if we watch something, it's because we've deliberately put a movie on. I like the old classic cartoons, so I tend to put on, Mulan or Snow White or the Disney Pixar, or I'll do a Harry Potter marathon or the Lord of the Rings series. But we don't really watch live TV. Question 39, pumpkin or pecan? People, life is short. Why are you choosing one over the other? Have a little slice of both. I'm all for that. In fact, I make a fantastic pecan cheesecake. It's cheesecake with pecan pie on the top. It's pretty darn good. So I think that covered all of them. I guess the next thing would be to nominate 3 people that I'm going to challenge. So I am going to say Asha C4, Badlands 44, and Shibby Rob. So thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you can down below. Leave me a comment. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a good day.